So let's have a little chat, shall we? You know, when I get silent, it's because I'm tuning into my higher self. I guess you can say that. You know, I realized something about myself, and it doesn't just apply to me, it applies to everyone. Black people, white people, Latino people, Chinese people, Indian people, blue people, orange people. It doesn't matter. It applies to everyone. We are really damaged people. And I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm starting with myself. We are really damaged people. I am a damaged, flawed person. And not many spiritualists or occultists can honestly say that straight out and bluntly like that. Most of them will dance around it and, play around it and just give you, myopic pieces of the meat. But they don't give you the whole piece of the meat so you can see the veins, the blood, the rot. They don't do that. They just give you little myopic pieces. The reason I want to talk about this is because not only does talking about it and admitting it, not only does that bring a source of healing or open up gateways for healing, it also helps to reverse some of that negativity that has been directed at you that may have caused you to become the damaged person that you are. But I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm starting with that person, like my good friend M, I'm going to call her M, says. I went back to 1988 when I was in the fourth grade and I was around maybe 10ish or 11 years old. I can't remember, maybe around 11, I think. Around that. How old was I? 1988, maybe around 10. I was around 10 in 1988. And I remember there was a Halloween party at my school because it was around Halloween. And I went as Dracula. I dressed up as Dracula. I had a red cape. I think it was a red cape. I think it was a red cape, and I had the fangs, and I even had some fake blood that I put on my gums. It was some kind of black goo or something like that. I forgot, but anyway, I did the damn thing. And there was a teacher there who I will call Miss M. Okay, and not to be confused. No, Miss V. I'm sorry. We're gonna call her Miss V. Miss V. Her first name began with the M, and not to be confused with the my friend Miss M, who I told you about earlier. But anyway, Miss V was Mexican. She was a white Mexican lady, and I really liked her. I had a fascination with her, and I really liked her. She was very nice to me and stuff like that. But when she did not show me attention the way that I wanted, I would throw temper tantrums because I wanted her attention all to myself. And at this Halloween party, there was a moment where she took her focus off of me and she went and mingled with the other students. And I became very upset about that. So I separated myself from the other students, and I was sulking around, feeling sorry for myself, feeling rejected and abandoned, and, feeling like I wasn't being paid attention to. And I felt like, nobody was paying attention to me, that nobody liked me, and all of those things. And what's interesting is that did not start with Miss V. That started with my mother. That started with my mother. Because my mother didn't raise me. I was raised by my great-grandparents, actually. My great-grandmother and my step-great-grandfather. He wasn't my biological great-grandfather, but nevertheless, he was the only, father that I really knew, And because of my non-relationship with my mother, and because my mother at that time really didn't have time for me because she was too busy doing whatever she was doing out in the street and living her life, a part of me how can I put this? A part of me started to create these issues of abandonment and feeling like nobody likes me and everyone is rejecting me. See, that didn't start with Miss V. That started with my mother. And then, I came from a family that was not very loving and not very supportive. They had moments of kindness, but my family is very damaged, like a lot of people's families. Not just black. We're going to get out of it ain't just black. Because I'm pretty sure if I ask white people and Latino people and other people, they would tell me the same thing. You see, that's why I'm applying this to everybody, not just black people. Because everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has pain. Everybody. Everyone has pain. The more and more I became enlightened about myself through my own self-enlightenment, the more and more I began to uncover things about myself in the dark. For the past 30 years or more than likely, I have been walking around as that little boy dressed up as Dracula, carrying that pain with me. Not knowing that pain was creating realities for me that I didn't even recognize. Creating trouble for me with people that I didn't even recognize. Creating relationships with toxic, untrustworthy people. Men and women, actually. And I didn't even recognize it. But in that instance, no, I'm not going to go there right now. I'll talk about that later if I feel like it. So once I began to, because see, it was here recently that I began to really sit back and really look at shit and say, well, wait a minute. Well, that is why I react like that to those situations. Or that is why I do this or that. Or that is why I feel this type of fear because of certain things. Because I was carrying that burden and that fear of abandonment with me. That insecurity that no one likes me. No one is going to like me. People are always doing this or that to me, or people don't like me. See, I was carrying that around with me. And see, people can see that. They can see that. And see, they can use that against you. And that's what I learned. And people have been using that against me because I was still walking in the energy of that little 11-year-old boy dressed up as Dracula at that Halloween party, because I started having visualizations of that particular time in my life at that Halloween party, at that time of my life when I felt rejected by everyone. But what I did not know, in the dark, that part of me was still active because it had not grown up. So this is what I'm going to do on camera. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say this to that little boy. I'm going to say, listen, you are destined for greatness. Well, this is what I did. This is actually what I did. Okay? And I'm telling you all what I did. I went to myself at that time in my life. And I said, you are destined for greatness. You are powerful. You are intelligent. You are beautiful. You are smart. And you are loved by most people. And the ones that don't love you, fuck them. The ones that don't accept you, fuck them. You don't need their acceptance. I accept you. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to be here for you. Nobody else matters but you. You are destined to be great. And you are destined for great things. And anything that is hindering you, I reverse that. Send it back to those who didn't appreciate you. Send it back to those who harmed you, who abused you, who made you feel worthless. And this isn't directed at my mother, because my mother, just in her best efforts, she did her best. It was no maliciousness. This is for people who are malicious, who come to you with ulterior motives because they want to use your insecurities against you. I talked to myself, to my 11-year-old self. I talked to myself and I had conversations with myself, my 11-year-old self or my 10-year-old self, to help that part of me heal because it had not healed. And see, like I said, people will see that and they will take advantage of that. That is why I say I am a damaged person. I'm a flawed person. And so are so many people, especially a lot of people who claim that they're spiritualists or occultists. They never really deal with that man or that woman in the motherfucking mirror. But we're going to stick with men because you know what? They are the ones who have the problems a lot of the times, to be honest with you. Women do too, but it's a difference. Because at least with a woman, I can somewhat reason with and work things out with women if I have an issue with them, if they're reasonable, if they're not a staunch, raving, mad bitch like the women in my family. Yeah, I said it. Because I don't have to live in any type of, under any type of code anymore. Or under any type of motherfucking rules anymore. Because I'm not 11. I can speak up for my motherfucking self. I don't have to be afraid to speak up. I got my window open. You all have to excuse all that noise outside. I'm in a busy place right here because I'm not home. But I can speak up for myself. And I don't have to hesitate or have trepidation when I speak, and neither do you. Neither do you. So when I think back, I realize so many situations where that 11-year-old was doing the talking, and I allowed him to talk while I took a back seat. But not anymore, because now I'm going to do the motherfucking talking. And I'm not 11 no more. We're 30 years into the future. I'm not 11 anymore. And I don't give a fuck about anybody's validation. I don't give a fuck about nobody's friendship. I don't give a fuck who accepts me and who don't. I don't give a fuck about being on nobody's platform speaking. I don't give a fuck about any other person but me and my spiritual evolution. I'm not a groupie. I don't owe anybody anything, and neither do you. So I reversed all of that bullshit. And this is how you take your power back truthfully from those who stole it from you in the first place. From those people who want to, discredit and, attack your energy and, try to degrade your energy and make you feel like you're less than. See, you put out your flaws and your insecurities like I'm doing, and let's see them match that. Trust me, they won't. You know what they will do? They'll run and hide, and they'll go cry, and they will be furious, full of rage, and full of sadness and hopelessness, because you've showed a large amount of strength even in the midst of persecution, even in the midst of being attacked. So when people try to attack your spirit and your heart, even in the midst of trying to copy off of you and call themselves androgynous, like some of these niggas do, and don't even really know what androgyny is. When niggas try to discredit you spiritually, now you have a new tool at your disposal. Because just like you can see all of the flaws and the damage in you, once you admit that, you can see it in them too. And once you can see it in yourself, you can see it in others, and you can disarm them, and you can keep them motherfuckers away from you. I see motherfuckers on YouTube and other places all the time claiming that they're conscious. But all they do is do unconscious bullshit. And when I say unconscious bullshit, I'm not talking about the unconscious part of your mind. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about they're doing everything that a person who is not conscious does. See, most of these niggas, they come to consciousness because everything else failed in their lives. Their money failed, their bodies failed. I'm just speaking real shit right now. Because this all ties into being able to see other people's flaws, not to point them out to hurt them. This isn't about hurting. This is about reversing. Reversing what other people have done to you. This is reversal magic. Because see, one thing that people, these low vibrating, weak, fake, conscious people don't bet on is you admitting your own flaws and you admitting that you are a damaged person. And when I say that I'm a damaged person, it doesn't mean that I'm going around creating other damage. It just means I'm admitting that there's a part of me that was damaged. So don't get it twisted. There was a part of me that was damaged. And I'm recognizing that and I'm honoring that and I'm giving that part of me attention so I can heal it. That's what a real conscious person does. They don't go on other people's platform trying to sneak diss people. That's not what conscious people do. That's what weak, low vibrating, miserable, unconscious, hurt people do. Most of these people come to consciousness because they want attention and they don't really have anything of substance to say. You know, a lot of people are attacking Jaguar right now because of the interview that came, what do they call it? The Surviving Jaguar Right series that Tasha K put out. And I'm not here to talk about whether it's right or wrong. That's not my expertise. And I really don't care. I mean, I could break down some things in it, but I'm not getting into that. But Jaguar Wright said something that was very interesting. And no matter what people may think about her, good, bad, or indifferent, she says some real conscious shit, although she's a Christian, but that's another story. But she says some real conscious shit. And it makes sense. She said there are those people who have something to say because they say something of substance or have something to say of substance. And there are those people who have something to say because they simply want attention. I was an 11-year-old little boy who felt like I needed attention. And when I didn't get attention, I got upset, I pouted, and I acted out. Some of these niggas are 30-some-year-old grown men, and they are still stuck in their pain as children, whether it was molestation, whether it was abuse. I was abused too as a child, physically, emotionally, psychologically, by multiple family members. And I can admit that because that's part of my story. That's part of my song. As the Christians say, and I'll praise the Lord all day long. You know how the Christians say, but take out the praise the Lord part. That's part of my story. That's part of my song. Because that's part of what led me into consciousness, my pain. That's what led me into consciousness, my pain that I came from. And then you turn that into gain. But a lot of these niggas that are in consciousness, they turn pain into worse pain. They come from pain. Some of them don't even come from pain. And they create more pain for themselves, more disappointment. And the people that are not conscious, who claim that they are, they can't even see it. They can't even see who's conscious and who's not. Because they're too busy looking for validation themselves. See, I'm not looking for validation. Because if I was looking for validation, I'm the type of motherfucking gay dude that would be honest about it and say, you know what? I'm looking for validation. I'm looking for somebody. I would say it because I can do that. If I wanted to be somebody's fan or ass kisser, I'd be like, yep, I love that person. I kiss their ass and I'm their fan. I'm nobody's fan. Nobody's ass kisser. Because that's not a true way to expand your consciousness. That's not. When you're really conscious, sometimes you're silent. When you're really conscious, you listen to yourself. You don't need other people. And that is what I teach people. I teach people how to listen to themselves, how to be confident in themselves, how to acknowledge the damage and the flaws that are within them so you can heal from it, not run from it, not get on Facebook and YouTube and pretend like you're conscious, like it's some type of motherfucking, a cartoon or video game. We're all damaged people. And the difference between a conscious damaged person and a non-conscious damaged person is the fact that we will acknowledge it and we don't pussyfoot around it. You understand what I'm saying? We don't pussyfoot around it. We tell the truth about it. Just like a lot of niggas tried to clown me on that interview I did with B.O.B. and Panic. A lot of niggas tried to clown me about that. But at least I had the balls to sit up on a platform with two heterosexual men. At least I had the courage and the balls to do that. No matter what the circumstances were, I had the courage and the balls to do that. And those niggas were so fucking jealous. But they claim they're conscious. Right? And I'm talking about the niggas that were watching. But they claim they're conscious, right? No, they're not conscious. They are those 9 and 10 or however old they are. They are still those hurting little boys living in their pain because they don't self-examine that man in the mirror. They're too busy trying to find other people's glitches and flaws and insecurities so they can cover up their own. But once you admit that you're a damaged person like I just did, once you admit that you have flaws and you have issues, once you admit that, once you tell your story, they no longer have power over you anymore. And now they're going to be forced to either look in that mirror and face that man in the mirror that they don't want to face or whatever they are. They're going to be forced to either do that or they're going to die out. Or they're going to die out. We are damaged people. Can you admit that you're damaged? Can you free yourself from the mind control that you've been put up under? From the egotistical mind control that you've been put up under? The fear of embarrassment or backlash from admitting that you have flaws, from admitting that you are damaged. Can you admit that? Most people can't. They walk around with smiles on their faces especially a lot of these conscious niggas. They walk around with smiles on their faces and misery and blockages all in their fucking heart chakras. Just because you say love does not mean that it's setting you free. You know how they say love sets things free, or the truth sets you free? Well, the truth and love go hand in hand sometimes. You tell people the truth that you love. They say the truth shall set you free. They also say that love sets you free. And just because you say love and you smile on your face, smile all the time, does not mean you're getting set free. Being nice and syrupy nice is not always love. Sometimes someone can be leading you. You know, you can figure it out. Sometimes some people can be leading you to something that's not, beneficial for you, using syrupy sweet techniques. I've learned that too. That's why I don't do lives on YouTube. That's why I don't do Instagram and Instacart. Well, I do use Instacart, child. I do use that. Or Instagram and Facebook. I don't do all that because I'm not on here for friends and validation. I'm not on here for any of that. I'm on here for one purpose and one purpose only: to help expand my consciousness and to speak about things on a conscious level, on a spiritual level, on a cult level, not a cult level, a cult level. And those people that hear the frequency will gravitate towards me. You notice I don't put out my email address. I don't do any of that. I don't want just anybody contacting me. I know. The only people that contact me are people of a higher frequency. And if you're not of a higher frequency, I don't want to talk to you. And usually I will know. If you're not on a higher energetic frequency or vibration, we have nothing to fucking talk about. I won't even acknowledge you. Not because I think I'm better, it's just that the energies don't mix, and I don't mix with low vibrating people. Simple as that. I just don't. So if a person really wants to talk to me, and I know that they're really about that shit, they will find me if they really want to talk to me. Or if they really want something that I can provide for them. I'm an occultist and I'm a spiritualist. And I hear and see the things that you don't see and the things that you don't say. The things you're saying in your spirit that you ain't saying with your mouth. That is why people can't really lie to me, because I feel your fucking energy. I'm trying to think, do I have anything else to say on this matter? No, I don't. Not really. But once you take that power away from people, once you take that power away from them, they can no longer hurt you. They can no longer, go around, trying to discredit you and trying to harm you and trying to make you feel bad. Because you've already reversed it. Because they do that predicated upon the fact that you're going to hide or try to hide that you're a damaged person. And see, we already know that those people are damaged. They can't hide it. That's why they do the shit that they do. They're never at peace. You notice these are the people that are posting all day on Facebook talking about, oh, I'm leaving, and oh, this and that, and oh, looking for attention. Remember, there are those who say things or say something because they have something of substance to say. And then there are those who say things because they simply want attention. Like that 11-year-old boy who was dressed as Dracula. That was me. And that's a lot of you motherfucking niggas too. You still have not taken off that cape. You still have not taken those fangs out of your mouth, and you haven't fucking grown up. You haven't dealt with your molestation issues. You haven't dealt with your abuse issues. You haven't dealt with the fact that that your mother let you sit in your diaper and shit for days at a time and didn't change you. That you still carry fragments of that with you. You haven't dealt with that. But instead, you claim that you're conscious, and you come into consciousness carrying all that fucking baggage, but you're not doing any work to heal it. But you want to talk about other people, and you want to judge other people, and you want to judge homosexuality, and you want to judge this person, and judge that person, and judge black women, and judge that person. But you ain't looked at that man in the motherfucking mirror. You ain't done that. That's the one thing you won't do. Because who are you going to find? Are you going to find an 11-year-old little boy like I did? That's still hurting? Feeling abandoned? Or is your lower self going to be someone younger than that? At what stage are you going to find your pain? Some of you niggas are 30 and 40 and 50 fucking years old, and you still won't acknowledge how you have harmed yourself, your spirit, your mind, how you will not honor and release your pain. But you want to misuse other people's energy and think that you can get away with that. No. And this ain't about revenge. This is about reversing. This is reversal. A lot of y'all not conscious. You're not. A lot of you are just YouTube clowns. Might as well put on your red nose and your makeup and your wig. You're just nothing but YouTube clowns. See, when I dress up in drag, I make a habit not to put on too much makeup because I don't want to look like a clown or an over-exaggerated version of a woman, because I have naturally feminine features, high cheekbones and everything else, pretty full lips. I don't have to do that because I'm a force, not a god. I'm above the gods. I'm a force. Why do you call yourselves gods? See, I've gone past the self-deification process. I just didn't know it. But my spirit told me and showed me that I have gone past that. So I'm a force. The gods work for me. And that's not an egotistical thing. That's a truth thing. I'm beyond that. Why do you all call yourselves gods? Why? Most of you all are not even good fucking humans. So being a god, chow bye, chow please, girl bye. Like we say in the gay community, girl bye, chow please. God where, bitch? How, bitch? Where? Where, bitch? How? Roll my eyes, child, please. No motherfucking gods. But you can be, though. You can self-deify. But not with all the blockages that you all have. I'm talking to you black men mainly. All these blockages that you have. Worried about who's gay and who's not. Worried about who's this and that. How about this? Instead of focusing on who's gay and this and that, why don't you just go back to your childhood, to the uncle or the cousin or whomever molested you, and why don't you deal with that energy? Deal with that energy, because ain't no every gay person that did nothing to you. It's that one particular person who violated you that you have allowed to live in your mind rent free because you don't know how to release that pain and to deal with it. See, we've all dealt with some form of abuse. I'm going to say it again. We've all dealt with some form of abuse. I thought I was finished, but I feel like having church today. We going to have church. You niggas going to listen today. Shit, fuck that. See, we've all dealt with some form of abuse. See, mine was physical and emotional abuse because one of my aunts, her name is Monica, I'm going to say the bitch's name. I had to live with her for a little while because there were some things going on in my family. And I'll tell that story another time. But there were some things going on in my family and I had to be taken out of my great-grandmother's home. And when I lived with her, she was so abusive towards me. She was very angry. She was very bitter because she was another person that did not understand her pain and she did not honor her pain or acknowledge it. And now that I look back in retrospect, the reason that she was so angry and bitter was because Monica was sexually assaulted as a child, and I think she was sexually assaulted by her own biological father, who was my step-grandfather. Child, we can't get it right in this family. It's either step or step. Yeah, my step-grandfather. Don't get that confused with my step-great-grandfather. And this step-grandfather also molested my mother. See, all of this pain was already in my mother's DNA. And I had a wise woman help me to see this recently. All of this pain was already in my mother's womb. It was already in her womb. A lot of you are carrying the burdens of, well, let me say it this way because I don't want to get too kabuki. It's about energy, vibration, and frequency. And if you're born into an energy and vibration of frequency of abuse, then you will create that in your reality. Some of us are just living the realities that were put before us. But it's up to you as a conscious person to change that. That's how I know most of you motherfucking niggas ain't conscious, because you still living in that and you ain't even honoring the pain that is afflicting you. But my aunt, she was so abusive towards me. Everything that I did, it upset her. I couldn't do anything right. She was physically abusive, emotionally abusive. She humiliated me. She degraded me. She emasculated me. She did all types of shit to me. And her husband, who's a henpecked man, he did nothing but sit back and let her do it. See, y'all learning some shit about me today. And what led up to me no longer living with them was because she and her husband tried to kill me. They tried to beat me to death in the middle of the street. They tried to kill me. They tried to kill me. Oh yeah. See, y'all don't know Seer Grant in my story, in my song. But you try to go on other people's platforms and you try to sneak diss me when you don't fucking know me. You don't know the work that I've done and where I've come from. I've done a lot of work. And that little boy that happened to, he was 12 years old. See, I was around 12 when that happened, or maybe a little bit older, maybe about 13 when that happened. Maybe about 12 and a half, 13 when that happened. See, I've been through a lot. A lot. But if I did not go through all of that shit, if I didn't go through that, then I wouldn't be here talking about it in the context that I'm talking about it now. Let me tell you something else. I bet a lot of you did not know that I've been semi-homeless for the past 4 months. I've been semi-homeless for the past 4 months, but I'm getting ready to move back into my home. There was, let's just say, a natural disaster at my home. It did not just affect me. It affected many other people that were displaced. Okay? Let's just say it was a natural disaster at my home. And I've been semi-homeless for 4 months living in a hotel. I mean, I'm not homeless in terms of being on the street, but I haven't been able to go back to my home. And I recently went to see my home, and it's fixed up now. It looks like a brand new place, and new floors, new granite. What do they call it? Granite counters. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not no fancy smancy person. You know what I mean? So, but the thing is that when things like that happen, it doesn't destroy me because I'm a person of strength and character and integrity and dignity. Despite where I've been, despite what has happened to me, my consciousness is why, and my spirit is why I'm still here and I'm surviving. That's why. I didn't put up no cash apps. I didn't ask nobody for no donations or any of that. I didn't reach out to nobody and say, can you do this for me or do that for me? Because most people don't give a fuck about you. Even the ones who, pretend that they do. Most people don't give a fuck about you. And that's not the reason why I didn't reach out to anybody. The reason I didn't reach out to anybody is because I didn't need any money. I have my own money. I work. I have a career. I have a pretty good one. And I have renter's insurance as well. So that's why I'm good. But I didn't tell anybody because I'm not looking for attention. I'm telling people now because I'm going back home really soon. I'm staying in a hotel right now. But see, these are all parts of me that are open. You understand? So once you're able to do that freely, and once you're able to really do that without trepidation, no matter what people say, no matter what backlash you may get, no matter what people think, you disempower all of those people. You disempower those people who are jealous of you. You have to excuse that noise because I'm in a noisy location. Oh, I'm so sick of these motherfuckers and these weird fucking cars they drive making all that fucking noise. I wish they would ban that fucking shit. That shit is annoying. But, you can disempower them and they can no longer come at you with that low vibratory motherfucking energy. You understand what I'm saying? So when are you going to look at the man in the mirror and stop worrying about what somebody else is doing, or stop trying to copy off of somebody else? See, this is why I stay on my own platform. And like I said, I don't do no live shows and all that. I don't need all that. That's not what I'm here for. I don't need any accolades and when I say that, I mean that because I could easily be 100,000 person with subscribers, 100,000 subscriber person. Like a lot of other gay male black vloggers, I could easily be that. But see, I'm not talking about that other bullshit that they talking about. And I'm not downing them, but that's just not me. I don't talk about that. I am my own energy. I'm my own person. And I don't really subscribe to the LGBT community because I'm not part of anybody's community. I'm part of my community. The LGBT community does not define me. So I don't know what songs they sing in a club. I don't know what dances they're doing. That has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with consciousness. You understand what I'm saying to you? The only community I'm in is me, myself, and I. That is what represents me. Conscious. No, let me say it again. Shadow ego, which is shadow conscious. Ego, subconscious, and unconscious. There are actually 4 parts to us. Nobody talks about the shadow ego, which actually controls the regular ego or the physical ego. But that's another story. But once I uncovered that glitch in me, or that energy that was still stagnant in me, I began to realize where it stemmed from, and it stemmed from my mother. And it also stemmed from her damage. It stemmed from generational damage that we all deal with. Again, not just black people. But yeah, I've been semi-homeless for about almost 5 months. And it's been an interesting experience. No, it did not break me. It helped me to really grow spiritually. It helped me to really, face some of those darker parts of me that I hid. And it forced me to face them. See, I'm like a soldier on a battlefield. I don't do bitch ass shit. And I don't fuck with bitch ass motherfucking niggas. I don't. Whether you heterosexual or gay, it doesn't matter. If you a bitch ass nigga, you a bitch ass motherfucking nigga. And that's how I go. And when I say a bitch ass nigga, I mean somebody that can't be trusted. Because there's a difference between, I'm getting a little off topic because I'm just talking about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. Y'all got my story, you got my song, and you can sing it all the day long, okay? Now, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. There's a difference between a ghetto person and a hood person. See, a hood person goes by a code of conduct. They have certain ethics that they don't fucking cross. A ghetto person, you can't trust them. They are ratchet. They are untrustworthy. They will backstab you. They will lie on you. Like my Aunt Monica, she's a ghetto person, but she's a bougetta person because she lives in a house. And everybody that think they live in a house, they think they're better than other people until them houses and homes become their prisons. Because you can't take none of that shit with you. You feel what I'm saying? That's not jealousy, that's truth. See, them houses and homes become your prison when you're sick and you're old and frail and you ain't got nobody around you to help you because you've alienated all of the people that really rocked with you and that really fucked with you so you could replace them with a bunch of motherfucking weirdos who don't really give a fuck about you. You see what I'm saying? That's just a little human talk. But people that are ghetto, you can't trust them. You can't trust ghetto people. You can't really trust hood people either. But at least hood people go by a certain code of conduct. See, I know this shit because my uncle was a big time drug dealer. He was a hood motherfucking nigga and he went by a code of conduct. But the problem with him was he surrounded himself with the wrong type of low vibrating ass, jealous ass motherfucking niggas. And that's why he's not here today, unfortunately. Because a bunch of bitch ass niggas set him up. That's why I don't like bitch ass niggas. I don't trust them. Because ghetto bitch ass niggas will set you up. They'll profile your spirit. They will watch you. They will profile you. They will study you. And then they will set you up and they will befriend you. And then they will set you up. Or what they'll do is they'll go to other people that you're cool with and they will create dissension. They'll create dissension between you and that person. See, everything is about the spirit. Everything is about the spirit and the occult. You understand? But see, when you start showing those darker parts of yourself that you've hidden, like I just did, when you start admitting your flaws and admitting that you're a damaged person like I did about myself, when you start admitting that you need to look at that man in the mirror like I said I need to do, when you start doing that, people don't have nothing to use against you anymore. They don't. They don't. And I can see that a lot of these motherfucking niggas who call themselves conscious, occultist, and all this bullshit, they're not. I can see that now. But it takes going inside of you to actually have that ability so you can see it. And it's not that I'm looking for it, it's just it's automatic. You can see it. Because real conscious people have something to say of substance. And when a person tries to shut down a real conscious person who has something to say of substance, when you dismiss and you try to shut that person down, you're not being true to this motherfucking game. You're being fake. And you're being a hypocrite. There's a difference in things contradicting, because if spirituality makes sense, then it's not spirit. It's not spiritual. It has to contradict. But there's a difference when you're being a hypocrite. And a lot of you motherfucking niggas are hypocrites. When you try to shut down a person who has something of substance to say, to give a voice to a motherfucker who just wants attention, then that means you ain't fucking conscious either. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. Wherever I go, I always have something of substance to say if I'm around people who are worthy of that. And when I say worthy, I mean worthy of my motherfucking time. Because a lot of times I have to lower my fucking frequency and vibration just to talk to certain people. But not anymore, I won't. Not anymore, I won't. Not anymore, I won't. So basically, I came on here to reverse, remove, and to restore what was attempted to be taken from me. That's what I came on here to do. And when you admit your pain, admit that your feelings have been hurt, when you show your vulnerabilities and you show what's really going on with you, when you show that, when you're able to show that, when you're able to confess and show what you're really, to show what's really going on with you and not what you just want people to see, and not because you just want people to spend money on you, when you're real about this motherfucking shit, this is what you do. This is what you do. This is what you do. And most of the people that contact me are on a higher vibration and frequency. I don't have no issues with no low vibrating people contacting me. I don't have those issues. No more. I don't. Because I'm not looking for fans, and I'm not looking for somebody to kiss my ass like a lot of these niggas are, although they say they not, but they really are. I feel I've been vindicated. I feel that energy has been lifted off of me. And this was an hour video. And I feel like I said a lot. And I feel good about that. And whether you stayed the entire hour or not, I hope you got something out of it. And to the real people that really fuck with me, kudos to you and thank you for your respect. And I'm not, because I'm not talking to you all. You know what I'm saying? I'm not talking to you all. I'm talking to these motherfuckers who claim that they're occultists and that they're conscious, but in actuality, they're not. They're not conscious. They just don't get attention. And they use consciousness as a front to get attention from people that they normally would not get attention from. Because most of these niggas normally don't get any attention. See, I do. I get attention from whomever I want. And I have people that like me. I have friends. And I have people around me that lift me higher. I don't have nobody around me that tears me the fuck down. And I create the reality that I want for the most part for myself. For the most part for myself. That's what consciousness does. It gives you options. Like my friend Miss M tells me. She always tells me, Seer, you got options. And she's right. Consciousness gives you options and opportunities. That's what it does too. And I'm talking about spiritual consciousness. It opens you up to different aspects of yourself. Good, bad, or indifferent. Because I'm going to tell you something, if I weren't conscious, I would not be able to look at my 11-year-old pitiful self who was sad, insecure, depressed, feeling rejected, abandoned. I would not be able to look at that and say, I've been carrying that around with me, that damage. I've been carrying that around with me for 30 years. And not just that damage, but my mother's damaged spirit as well. And a lot of you niggas are carrying that too. That's why a lot of you have the problems that you do with your women. How can you understand women when you're still walking and talking and eating and sleeping in the pain because mommy didn't love you enough? Because your mother didn't give you enough of this or enough of that. Or your mother abandoned you. How can you expect to understand women when most of you really hate women? You so-called heterosexual black men. Most of you niggas hate women. You conscious motherfuckers. I'm conscious. I'm a god. You know, motherfucking god. You niggas ain't no motherfucking gods. I only knew one real motherfucking God that I ever came in contact with that was conscious, and his name was Christopher Barry. That I knew personally. That's the only, and he was beyond the gods himself. That was Christopher motherfucking Barry. That was a motherfucking God. That's the only God that I ever came in contact with that I bowed my motherfucking head to in respect. As far as men. Let me be clear, as far as men. Now, I've come into many different black women that were goddesses or gods. I'm going to call black women gods too. Take that goddess stuff off of it because that kind of denotes it. I've ran into many black women who were gods. Many times. But as far as males, the only real God that I ever came in contact with was Christopher Barry. That was a real motherfucking God. Whether he knew it or not, I don't know. But I knew it. I knew it in him the first time that I met him. The first time that I couldn't even believe that he even wanted to breathe my airspace. But that was a real motherfucking God. That was a real God. That's the only male God that I've actually had. Now, I've met some male gods, like some of my friends that I talk to that I've met through, consciousness and stuff like that. Like my friend AR, my friend Cabs. He knows who he is. I ain't gonna put his real name out there. My other friend whose name begins with an M, and my other friend his name begins with a G. Yeah. Well, he and I are really not friends, but he just recently hit me up for a consult, you know. And there's a few more. There was a young guy that hit me up a while back. He was a real motherfucking god too, and he's gay. And if he still watches my videos, he knows who I'm talking about. I gave him a long consultation. I sure did. And he deserved it. He deserved it. And I would never dishonor or disrespect his energy. But other than that, I'm talking about as far as being in my personal life. Christopher Berry was the only God that I ever knew. He was the only one that I ever knew on a personal level like that. And let me say this too, you know, I'm never too hoity-toity where I cannot be, let's just say, or I'm never too high up on the hog. There's a certain word I want to use where I can't be examined. You understand what I'm saying? And one of the reasons I don't have a lot of problems is because I'm not fake. I'm not fake and I'm not two-faced. Not when it comes to my spiritual work. Now, when it comes to people that I don't like or a motherfucker that I feel as though is doing some not so ethical shit that has no integrity, yeah, I can be two-faced towards them type of motherfucking people. You're damn right. No problem with saying it. But my friend, like for example, my little brother he's my play little brother from the UK, AR, he always calls me out on some shit. Always. He's always calling me out on some shit. Always. And he's in his early 20s. He's like 22. And he's my play little brother, so don't get no fucking ideas. He is straight. That's very interesting. Most of my male friends are straight. That's very interesting, you know. Most of my male friends are straight, you know. But I don't know. It's interesting, you know. Now that I got all that out the way, you know, it's just interesting when you really start to go into the dark and you really begin to find things about yourself that are still afflicting you, that are still following you. And that 11-year-old little boy, he was still following me. And I remember one time that I had this weird dream where this little boy was watching me. It was like my eyes were closed, it was dark, and then I saw this light come from behind the darkness. And it was a little boy with a red cap on, peeping over at me as I slept. And you know what I realized? That was me. That was me. That was a younger part of myself that was still dealing with something. And see, in another parallel reality, because we create parallel realities and universes with our minds, we're just not aware of it because they tell us that our minds ain't this and it ain't that. Our minds are very powerful. Somewhere, that little 11-year-old boy created a reality for himself. And when he created that reality, it caused a reverberation in a negative way. And I'll get into that in another video, but let me see. How long have I been on here? Oh, too damn long. I normally don't make no hour videos, but I just had to come through and I had to say that. Own your pain. Acknowledge it. Go in the dark and pull out all that fucking pain and Put the light on it. You know? Go to that man in the mirror. Stop worrying about who's gay and who's not and this and that. Stop worrying about that shit. Stop worrying about that. Stop worrying about the next bitch you gonna fuck. And worry about who fucked you and stole your motherfucking joy, because whoever fucked you, they're still winning by living in your soul and in your dark spaces rent free. Stop worrying about the next bitch you're gonna fuck and find out who fucked you. And I don't mean fucked you sexually. I mean fucked you spiritually. Who fucked you so badly? Who fucked you up so badly that you're blocked off and you can't even receive love? You can't even receive blessings because you're blocked. This is Bahgoogavaat, aka Seer Grant. And I approve of this motherfucking message. You know I'm gay. I have to make everything into a theatrics or dramatics. You know that. But anyway, I'm signing off. Oh, this fucking noise shit. Alright, I'm gone.